Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. This is Stuck in the Mud and I am Kirsty. So as always, please remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. So in today's video, I wanted to come on today and talk about all the things that OCD doesn't want you to know. OCD took over my life for many years, from being a very young little girl until my 40s. I pretty much got into my early 40s and it kind of came to a point where I just couldn't take anymore. It controlled my life for so many years that it just become the norm for me to go through this day in, day out. And, I'd have some complete breakdowns with it, like to the point that I couldn't function at all. And the last time that happened was when I was 42, and now I'm 45, and I would say I'm healed from this now. It doesn't affect me in the way it used to. I have come to a place of acceptance with my OCD and the way it likes to take over my life and really control me. And I know that you guys watching this video out there can do this too, because if I can, you can, because I've been to some terrible places with this disorder where I've been, at rock bottom, just wondering, how am I going to move forward? How am I going to live? Because it really does feel like a life sentence at times. It's so debilitating. I've got so much compassion for anyone going through this, because I know how hard it is to live under this monster. It just takes over. It completely, takes over every day of your life. It's there. It just won't, it feels like there's no escape from it at times. So what does OCD not want you to know? There are definitely things that I have learned throughout the years and especially more recently. And I was talking to a lady recently and I had a really lovely conversation with her about my past struggles. And she said something that I thought was so amazing, so beautiful. And it really did kind of describe OCD and what it is and why it affects us so much. And she said she was a very spiritual lady. And, you don't have to be spiritual or religious or any of those things to have it apply to you, because it is what it is. So this is what she said to me. All OCD really is the love you have for yourself, expressing itself as fear, trying to make you feel safe. And it really hit home with me that I was like, wow, that is OCD, the love we have for ourselves and others too. And it's just an expression of fear. And we're just trying to keep ourselves safe. And that is really what OCD is. And this is why I feel like, it's taken over my life. And I do believe that as sensitive beings, especially when we're suffering from OCD, I do believe that is a character trait of ours. We're very sensitive. We have very sensitive nervous systems. We're very empathic. And this is why it affects us so much, I believe. And yeah, it really did strike a chord with me, that statement. And I really wanted to pass that on to you guys. And I know she won't mind, because she is in the business of helping others. And, she knows that, this is really what it all comes down to with OCD. So OCD wants to keep you stuck. That is its main aim. It wants to keep you under its control. It just wants you there, just going along with its narrative. And it's very scary. It's very frightening to be under that control from OCD, because we just follow its orders all the time. We don't really question it, because we just want to feel safe. We want to feel comfort and peace. And it'll keep us there in that situation and stuck for as long as it can possibly keep you there. And that was me for many years. I didn't really understand it. And I really do believe that the more we educate ourselves and understand the way OCD works and why it happens to us, I believe there's a lot of freedom and healing in that, because we can therefore see why it affects us so much and why we keep going back. We keep going back there and doing the things that aren't going to ultimately help us. We're just feeding the cycle. We're not actually making anything better. We're kind of looking for those quick fixes to feel that peace and certainty that, we want to just feel ultimate certainty. And unfortunately, we can't have that in life. Life doesn't work that way. And coming to a level of acceptance is also another thing, OCD doesn't want you to know, because coming to that acceptance that we can't have that certainty in life. Life happens. There's going to be good and bad in our lifetimes. There's going to be ups and downs. It's life. I've been through some really difficult times in my life, and there's been some wonderful times. And life is, it's a roller coaster. It really is. And there's peaks and troughs there definitely along the way. So none of us, no one can have certainty about that. And coming to that acceptance, is as hard as it is, really does give you freedom. It gives you freedom from OCD and freedom from the control it has over you. And that, OCD, if the OCD was a person, and, just imagine that OCD is this bully over here, it doesn't want you to know that, because it wants you there. It wants you under its control. It's a bully. It wants you to do as it says, and keep you stuck, keep you where it wants you. Now, this is where my healing began. 3 years ago, I just kind of came to the realization that, do I want my life to look like this forever? Do I want to keep, going through the motions of OCD, doing the, compulsions, the rituals, having these changing obsessions, because OCD likes to move around. Once you feel like you've dealt with one thing, it'll, if we're not actually doing the work to get better, and doing it consistently, it will tend to crop up other places and, other themes. And this is where I found myself many times. It's moved around into the most horrendous obsessions and things that completely go against who you are. OCD goes against any of your values. And this is why education is important, because we need to understand how it operates. And OCD operates by targeting the things you love the most, So for me, harm was a big thing. Anything about my family, I wanted to keep them safe. I wanted to keep me safe. And it would really go after that. It knew that was important to me, on a major scale. It was up there. So it would really go after that. And, it's just that comfort to carry out these compulsions and rituals, to feel like I have some control over that situation, when I don't. Ultimately, I don't have control over that. A hard pill to swallow when you suffer from OCD, because these compulsions and rituals, they just give you that respite from everything. You feel like, okay, I've done that, I'm safe. And it's all lies. It's just lies that OCD will try and make you to believe, to feel like you have some control over the outside world and your life. And unfortunately, like I said, life doesn't work that way. So acceptance has been a big part of my freedom, because there are things we can do. So, OCD, isn't running the show anymore. It's losing its grips on you. There are definitely things we can put into practice. And our brain is like a computer, it's a computer system. We can reprogram the way, the beliefs we hold about OCD. This is what's brilliant about the mind, and how we can actually, create new pathways and different ways to kind of respond to our thoughts So this has all been a learning curve for me. And, over the years, I've learned very much about OCD and what, why it affects me and how it operates. And this has been a major breakthrough. OCD doesn't want you to know all of this, because you are going to realize it's just been lying all this time. We can often see how irrational it is. We often see that, but we're still compelled to do all the compulsions and the rituals. We get so obsessed over things because it feels like there's some safety in that. So what can we do about this? OCD doesn't want you to, like I said, have the knowledge all around how it operates, how it has this control over you. So that is a big thing. If we can learn the fact that OCD is going to try and hook you in any way it can, and we can often feel like we're trying to get some kind of, we often seek reassurance. We want to be a good person. OCD people, we're often like, but I want to be sure I'm a good person. And OCD will have you on that string, just pulling the strings, because as much as anyone can tell you that you're a good person, you're going to still question it. So there's things we can do, and we can reprogram our brain to realize that we don't have to answer that question. Ultimately, we know we're a good person, but OCD is a doubting disorder. So it's going to, just try and get you to hook into its doubt and make you think and question and analyze and all that stuff, just to try and get some clarification and certainty over it. So we can resist that. And I know it's going to be uncomfortable, it's going to be hard, it's going to be a lot of work, but there is a way out of this. There really is. We can reprogram our mind, because once we don't, do that compulsion, do that ritual, every time we resist those, our brain is actually learning a new way. It's like, okay, that's not important. I really don't need to stay focused on that anymore. I don't need to be obsessed about that, because it's unimportant. Our brain will recognize that eventually when we don't do that compulsion, we don't do that ritual, we don't ruminate, maybe we postpone the rumination, and then we keep postponing it. It's taking note of all these things, and our brain is finding new pathways, and it dissolves on its own, because that's what you find if you do the work. And this has been my breakthrough. Metacognitive therapy, detached mindfulness is my breakthrough. And I really don't understand why it's not talked about as much, because it really is amazing. And people I talk to that are discovering it now are just, mind blown that why have I not known about this? Fully on board with the exposure and response prevention. We need to do that. I do that part of, I kind of mix it with metacognitive therapy. That's what has worked for me personally, because we're always using these opportunities when, a thought, an intrusive, unwanted thought, because these are unwanted thoughts with OCD. We don't want these. Nobody wants to think about all this horrible, nasty stuff. But, we question it. We're like, well, why am I thinking about this? This isn't me. Why am I this terrible person because I'm thinking it? We feel guilty. We feel all these really horrible emotions alongside the intrusive thoughts, the guilt, the shame, frustration, anger, the panic, the anxiety is just sky high, because this is not us. This is not who we are at our core. And OCD will just hook right into that and be like, no, you need to figure this out. You need to question it, and you need to come to a conclusion about this. But it'll never come. We just go round and round in circles forevermore, and asking for reassurance, doing all these things that aren't helpful. So we really have to let those things be there, as hard as that is. As hard as it is to feel that anxiety in the pit of your stomach, knowing that you're not doing what OCD wants you to do. I talk about a lot of ways we can approach this in my videos, talking about like OCD being a toddler, having a tantrum, not getting its way. Just leave it there. This is the way we handle a situation like this in real life. With a toddler, we let them have their tantrum, because if we just give into it, they'll learn that, well, this is how I get things. This is how I get my way. So we do the same. And this is how the brain reprograms and finds new ways, new pathways, new healthier pathways for you. It realizes, okay, that's not important then, because she's not, she's not following this. She's just, letting it be there. It's obviously not that alarming to her. It's just there. Our brain recognizes that. You might feel at first, like you say, you're going to feel the anxiety, and you just got to let that feeling be there too. And that's where we fall down a lot when we're trying to heal from this and recover, because we take note. We're concentrating on the body, and we know where we're feeling anxiety, and we're like, we don't want that feeling there. So we try and push that away. We try and get rid of it. And the more we try and get rid of OCD, the bigger and stronger it just bounces back onto us. And that's a big part of the learning as well, learning why that happens, because the resistance, we just get more of it. With that resistance to it, we get more, but letting it be there and, coexisting with us, it will fizzle out. It will dissolve on its own, because that's how the brain, the mind operates. It self-regulates. And, my understanding of that has been amazing for me, because it really has shown me that this is all a disorder that, through no fault of your own you have, not at all. Never feel like this is your fault that you've got this. It will always try and trip you up, OCD, to the very last, second. It will try and get you to hook into it and figure it out, because that's what OCD's job is. OCD just wants your attention. It wants you to engage with it. So I always say the least involvement as possible. This is what I was always taught, the least involvement with these thoughts. You get the urge, because there's a lot of urges with OCD. It's not always understood as well, but you get the urges. You feel like you have an urge to carry out something dreadful, almost like, if I had the thought, I could pick up that knife there and just stab my child, for example, you're not going to do it. You will never act on these thoughts. They're just intrusive thoughts trying to cast doubt in your mind, so that you then go in that whole cycle of confusion, doubt, worry, anxiety and panic over the fact that, why am I thinking this? Does this mean I'm capable of doing an act like this? Not at all. That goes against who you are. And the fact that you're worrying and got so much anxiety over it, just means that, you're never going to do anything like that. It's just so against who you are. But OCD will try and find a way for you to engage with it, to the point where it will say, but what if this is not OCD? That's where it will always get you in the end. If it can't get you any other way, it's going to get you there. It's going to be like, but what if this isn't OCD? And that is the ultimate lie I feel like OCD tells, because it's just trying anyway. And you've got to understand that this is just the way OCD operates. You are not your thoughts. They are just thoughts that appear in your head. We can't do anything about the thoughts that appear in our head. You can't control them. And once we can let go of, that resistance to it and just let them be there, that's where the magic happens. The amazing thing is that our brain will self-regulate. It will realize that these aren't a danger to it. They're not a threat. We're not in, emergency mode waiting for these thoughts, to appear. We're just like, okay, it's fine. Okay, intrusive thought there. Be as passive as possible with it. I always talk about that. Like, okay, I know you're there, OCD, trying to, get me to engage with you, but not today, or I'll deal with you later. And then later comes, I'll deal with you again. And it can be very repetitive at first, because you will find, OCD is not going to like the fact that you're not engaging with it. It wants your involvement. It wants your attention. It's not going to like that. Like that toddler I was telling you about, it's going to have a tantrum that, why is she not, why is she not doing what I want them to do? You know, so they're going to throw more, you know, you're going to feel probably a bit more, you know, you're going to feel under attack a bit sometimes, like, why am I getting so many intrusive thoughts? And that's probably because you're doing the work now, you're doing the, you know, that's normal, that is part of the healing process. You know, you're going to get an influx of intrusive thoughts and urges to carry out rituals and compulsions, but that's normal. It's all normal, part of the process of healing, because OCD doesn't like that. But it will relax once it realizes it's not getting your attention, and our brain can reprogram and, you know, find these new pathways, and you will notice it dissolve, and it'll dissolve a lot quicker, because the more we do it, the less you will notice these intrusive thoughts coming in, because they're not bothering you the same as they used to. So this is what I wanted to talk to you about today, because, you know, OCD doesn't want you to be educated about this, you know, because it wants you to know all its tricks and sneaky ways. It realizes it's not got the same, you know, the same power over you. It doesn't have that attachment to you anymore, because you realize that this is just what it is. It's a disorder, you know. Is what it is. You know, it's the love you have for yourself and others expressing as fear and trying to make us feel safe. You know, and that was beautiful. I really love that statement, and I'm so glad she said that to me, because it really, I felt, wrapped it up. It wrapped OCD up and into what it truly is. And the fact that we can reprogram ourselves from this, it doesn't have to have that hold over you forever. And you can definitely heal from this. And I really hope my videos are helping you through this. I really hope to offer more one-to-one support in the future. In the new year, I'm planning on doing more one-to-one coaching sessions to have that support there available to you guys, you know, should you need it. But I have all my videos there available to you to give you the background on the processes I have used to get better and heal from this disorder. And I hope you're finding them useful too. So please let me know in the comments if any of this has resonated with you today and what you feel about it. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.